New York has lost one of their most reliable relievers. Wandy Peralta is gone.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Yankees, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making us your first listen every day. I'm Stacey Gotsoulias. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your first bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn to get started. With me, as always, is my producer, Steve Granado. Steve, we've made it to the last Friday of our off season.
Yeah, we have. Yeah, our quote unquote off season, our last episode of only 3 days a week. In case you missed that, by the way, we're back to 5 days a week starting on Monday. Thanks for clicking on this one, guys. We have kind of some odds and ends we need to get to here in this one. The Baltimore Orioles are being sold. How does that affect the AL East? What are our thoughts on that? That's coming up later on in the show. Of course, Aaron Hicks, former friend, has signed a new contract. He's heading out west. We'll talk to you about that. We also have your Fanmail Friday questions on a couple of topics that's coming up later. But of course, Stacey, right after our episode released on Wednesday, news coming out that Wandy Peralta is gone. He will not be returning to the Yankees, at least for 2024. He has signed a 4-year deal with the San Diego Padres. New York has lost one of their most reliable relievers. Thoughts on that first, Stacey?
That's a bummer. I was bummed about that. I was also shocked by the deal itself.
Yeah, let's get to that deal now,
Yeah.
Stacey. Actually, because the structure of it is extremely Wandy friendly. Very
Yes.
friendly for him.
Mhm.
He signs a 4-year deal, $16.5 million with 3 opt-outs.
Yeah.
Now, the Padres do this. They include a lot of opt-outs. Matt Carpenter had opt-outs. Manny Machado has opt-outs. It's something that Preller is starting to, that's something that he does is include those opt-outs. Obviously, they're super player friendly because they're like, hey, if I want to leave, I can leave. That's really nice.
Yeah.
And it kind of it helps in getting players, right? Because that's enticing for players. But as far as being able to flip them, having to wanting to go trade Wandy Peralta now is he's got an opt-out. So that 4-year deal doesn't really feel like a 4-year deal anymore to opposing clubs.
Right.
That's in the weeds. But yeah, just the structure of it alone, he may not I wouldn't say like a bandit, but man, he gets to move to San Diego. He gets to go see some old friends and Michael King and Randy Vasquez and Johnny Brito and
Higashioka
gets to pitch to Higgy. And, I see very little downside here for Wandy.
Yeah. Michael King put up a picture of him and Wandy in Padres uniforms and posted it on Twitter on Thursday. And that was really depressing. I mean, I'm happy for them. I mean, good for you. You get to live in San Diego for most of the year. I would take that every day and twice on Sunday. No, I'm happy for him. That's a good deal for him. And, the Padres.
Don't look now, right?
Yeah.
Don't look now. Given the circumstance, and if you had to lose Juan Soto, pretty good offseason, man. Pretty good offseason.
Yeah, I mean, you're improving your pitching, which is great. And 2023 was just a really off year for the team as a whole. And we've talked about it so many times, but it's so similar to the Yankees in that regard that it feels like the only way is up for them. And I feel like people may underestimate them coming up in 2024 just because everyone's paying so much attention to what the Dodgers have done that I feel like the Padres can sneak in there and do something.
The NL West is slowly becoming way more competitive outside of the Dodgers.
Mm-hmm.
The D-backs add Jock, they had Eduardo Rodriguez. This isn't NL West talk, but the fight for second place in the NL West is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Stacey, so what do the Yankees do now? I think I'm using this word right. Pontificated? Is that the correct
Yeah,
word?
I think you
That
pontificated.
I pontificated that the Yankees were shifting away from Wandy on our last episode when they claimed Matt Gage. Look, I didn't think it was a 1-to-1. Maybe it could just be per chance. Maybe it could just be a random. But I felt like when they claimed Matt Gage, I was like, I think that means there's no Wandy in the future here.
Yeah.
So they claimed Matt Gage. They DFA'd Diego Castillo a couple of days ago. And we knew the Wandy thing. They were interested. The Mets were interested. Obviously, and the Padres ended up landing him. What do they do now? I feel like the Yankees are kind of gearing for this moment here this offseason. They obviously made the trade to send Sweeney to LA and got Victor Gonzalez. Then they claim Matt Gage. They've been demons on the waiver wire here this offseason. Them claiming a bunch of guys, DFAing a bunch of guys. They've been really in flux in this 40-man roster. And you're kind of forgetting that Nick Ramirez, another left-handed option, is still part of this roster. So the Yankees have 3 full-fledged guys, major league guys, or at least guys that have a decent amount of major league time, and Victor Gonzalez, Matt Gage, Nick Ramirez, and then Matt Crook, who's right on the outside of that. Like, they have options here as the left-handed pen is concerned. And even though Wandy Peralta isn't part of that, I think they're in a pretty darn good spot, and I think they're probably in a better spot than a year ago when it comes to left-handed relief options.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Because it was pretty much Wandy. And then and then they
Crook.
And then that was basically so yeah, I would say they're in better shape. And the bullpen losing who they've lost, because I mean, they were going to lose King anyway because King was going to be a starter, but I believe you get Efros back, which is good, just to have another arm in the bullpen. Like, I'm not really worried about the bullpen right now. I'm actually happy with the bullpen. I'm just bummed because I liked Wandy. He was just pretty reliable there, and a goofball, and that's the only thing I'm bummed about. But I just saw a lot of vitriol from Yankee fans when the news of the deal came across the wire, otherwise known as Twitter. A lot of people pissed off about the Yankees not bringing Wandy back. You even had Met fans who were mad because the Mets haven't really done anything, and they were like, why couldn't you sign him to something? I think Ottavino's back, but they didn't really do much of anything either. So I was kind of surprised by the fan reaction to it, because, not that Yankee fans ever overreact about anything ever. It's almost like they forget that the Yankees have the arms that they have in the bullpen.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think my concern still, and I pontificated this earlier in the offseason, was what if Clay Holmes has a down year? Right. Or what if Clay Holmes gets hurt? There's not much of a second option when it comes to closing, and that keeps me a little worried.
Yeah, because that would have been Wandy.
That would have been Wandy. Would have been Wandy. I mean, on a different roster, last year's roster, no, because only left-handed option. This year's roster felt like he could maybe be the guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my only concern when it comes to the bullpen. I liked what Clay Holmes brought to the table last year. I think Clay Holmes is probably one of the best acquisitions the Yankees have had in the last few years when it comes to trades. Like, there's just a really, really good deal.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Yankees have options. I think that's what you need to take away from this. The Yankees have left-handed options. And I said this just a few hours ago on Wednesday's show. I like Wandy. I think Wandy's a good dude, and everyone thinks Wandy's a good dude, and he's a good pitcher. But he's far from irreplaceable. And the Yankees now are tasked with replacing him. And they've, again, been kind of building to this moment of the offseason. It's not like they were shocked, because he was a free agent anyway.
Right.
And you can't anticipate signing someone back. That's what free agency's for. And they've been building to this moment. And now that Wandy's officially gone, they have all these safeguards in place to where they're not just free falling going, oh my gosh, we don't have a left-handed bullpen option anymore. They've already made their bed, and they're good.
Do you also think that the Yankees, when they were interested in bringing him back, it was probably for a shorter, cheaper deal than $16?
$4 million plus. I mean, who cares? But for a non-closer, a little high. But I mean, they're paying guys more than that right now.
Right.
It's the opt-outs. It's the flexibility for Wandy. That's huge. That's really huge. don't sleep on the opt-out stuff. That's crazy. That's almost unheard of, especially for really any player to have 3 separate opt-outs
in a 4-year deal. Yeah, that's a lot. That's why when I saw that, I was like, I thought it was a mistake. Like I thought it was a misprint or whatever. I was like, that seems really, wow. I can't believe they would do that kind of a deal.
Pretty crazy. Let us know how you're feeling about this in the comments section down below. Of course, you can also text us. They got the news right away. We're having some text conversations with our Locked On Yankees insiders. The episode description has a link to a 14-day free trial where you can try out the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. You can text Stacey. You can text me again. We're talking about Wandy over there through text messages. Super cool. Check out a 14-day free trial, especially as we're less than 14 now as this episode releases from pitchers and catchers. So get in now. All right. When we come back, one of the things that our insiders get is priority in Fanmail Friday. Today's Friday. So we're going to answer some questions next.
Happy Super Bowl to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like me, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seat on the couch, grabbing your favorite football snacks, and placing some super bets. I love everything about Super Bowl Sunday. We watch the Puppy Bowl at my friend's house, and then we watch the actual Super Bowl. We rate the commercials. We eat tons of food. Of course, we rate the halftime show. But I also love parlays because those are always fun bets to make. FanDuel has so many ways for you to end the season with a W or 2 or 3. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score a touchdown, how many points will be scored, and so much more. New customers join today and you'll get $200 in bonus bets if your bet of your first bet of $5 or more wins. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Back now on Locked On Yankees Friday edition of the show, creeping closer to, I guess, opening day, but pitchers and catchers first. Let's pump the brakes. Don't say opening day. Although, Stacey, you've known that I've been doing this recently here, just for you sticking around. Little peek behind the curtain. I've been rocking this candle lately. This is not a sponsor. My girlfriend bought me this, the opening day big league. Oh, it's so nice. I've been lighting this candle like every day when I'm working. It's great. Just throwing that out there. Yeah, so I got baseball in the brain. It's on the brain. Anyway, Stacey, it's Fanmail Friday. You already know it. You already love it. So let's go ahead and just jump to some questions. We got a whole bunch of questions here. Our first one today, Stacey, is coming from our YouTube community at Mr. Mallory94, asking us, what is the potential value of Rizzo if he is put on the market, assuming the Chapman signing? Thank you, Mr. Mallory. So this was on our episode the other day when we were talking about the Matt Chapman rumor, which we both have come to an agreement feels fake-ish.
Yeah.
At least,
yeah.
Like no real legs to it.
No.
We'll see. But when it comes to Rizzo right now, I'm going to be blunt. I think he has zero trade value right now. Like at 0.1%. I think no one's going to take if you're talking about like right now, you got to at least give it a month of regular at bats to see how he's doing. I don't think any team would be willing to put that on themselves right now, given the injury that he sustained.
Yeah. I mean, no matter what the Yankees say about him being cleared for everything, he could be cleared for everything, but he could still have symptoms once he starts doing stuff. I mean, we saw it with Clint Frazier. He was affected by hitting his head into the wall for 3 or 4 years after it happened. So head injuries are tricky. And I don't see anyone wanting to risk that right now.
Yeah, of course not. And to be fair, I don't think the Yankees should explore that. I don't think it's a worthwhile venture to do that. You need him. He's part of your roster. He signed for another year. He does have a limited no trade clause. I think it's like 6 teams or something on that no trade. So there are some restrictions if you were to explore that. I mean, I don't think even if a Matt Chapman were to be signed, I don't think that puts Rizzo on the hot seat in any shape or form. I think it still is LeMahieu taking some DH reps, taking some first base reps, Rizzo taking some DH reps, and then of course it's like Oswald down in AAA again. That's more likely the situation. But thank you, Mr. Mallory, for your question. Interesting, because we haven't really talked a whole bunch about Rizzo, especially on that front this offseason. Our next one, Stacey, again from our YouTube community, is coming from at NYY Hulkamaniacs. I think a new one coming in here today. Do you think we will see a surprise signing or trade before spring training? And what do you think of Giancarlo Stanton losing weight this offseason? Do you think it will help him this year? Thank you, Hulkamaniacs. I like that. And also super cool avatar. Let's start with the first one, Stace. Surprising signing. I'm going to say it again. I've pontificated. If I'm wrong on that word, I look really, really smart right now. I've pontificated that I think they're done, dude. I think they're pretty much done here.
I think so too. I saw something today that said that they might still be in on Snell, which I thought was funny. I mean, if that happened, I don't know how I would react to that at this point, but I feel like they're done. I feel like they're done. Yeah. There might be small moves made, like more like what they've been doing, claimings and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't see a big surprise signing or trade before spring training. But then again, I mean, we've been wrong in the past, so.
I'll be wrong again. Second part of that, Stacey, you kind of talked about the Stanton weight loss thing. I've been, I think, a little less bullish on it. I've been a little more like, okay, great. That's wonderful. Congratulations. I think that's great for you. But I'm withholding judgment.
Right. I would like to hope that it would help, but
you would like to hope that it would help.
Yeah, I would hope that it would help, but
and I would hope that you would like that it helped.
I didn't get the order right. My brain is not working today. I apologize, but you know what I mean? Like, I just wish it would work, but
yeah, again,
I mean, he's going to look a lot different because, I saw that one shot of him on Instagram and he looked like a completely different person, because he's like, he's big and brawny and like, like superhero kind of size. Different than Judge. Judge is big, but Stanton is like muscly big,
yes.
Like more, you know what I'm talking about?
Thus like the muscle issue.
Yeah, thus the problems with the muscles that he has. So it should be interesting seeing what he looks like in his uniform now, with that weight coming off. And I mean, I would love for him to be healthy and again, doesn't have to hit 40 home runs, just please be better than you were in 2023 and healthier.
Yes. Health key. Thank you, Hulkamaniacs. Cool name.
Happy anniversary also, because it's like 40 years after Hulk won the championship. 1984,
sure.
baby.
Sure it is. I'm gonna defer to you on that one. Our last question here on this Fanmail Friday comes from our Locked On Yankees Insiders community. Again, if you want guaranteed answers for your questions, all you gotta do is sign up for the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club. 14-day free trial in the episode description. You get a whole bunch of other perks too. This one's coming from Ruben Stacey asking us, how long do you think the Boras players will wait before they start signing? The big free agency question of the offseason.
Yeah.
Snell, Bellinger, what's going on there? What's taking so long? Stacey, if there's one thing I know about Scott Boras, if there's one thing I know about the agents of Scott Boras, ain't no clock on this thing, man. I'll wait if I gotta wait.
Yeah, I mean, if they have to wait for spring training to even start before they sign something, Harper, they will do that.
Yeah, they've done that in the past. There's no like they're not worried about it. It's seemingly like they'll continue to work out. They'll throw their pens. Like they're going to be on the same pitching program regardless. Sure. Obviously, you'd like to know to get like life things out of the way, getting a house, figuring out car situation and like all that kind of stuff. The kids' school, like how long am I going to be there? That type of thing. Yeah. Clearly, that is especially for like I don't know Blake Snell's life situation, but Cody Bellinger has a kid. So that's clearly like, they want to figure that out. The kid's super young. I think it's only like maybe a year or two old, maybe max. So
I think
they don't
Snell
have to worry
has a girlfriend. I don't think he had kids with him at the Cy Young announcement. So
okay, well there you go. Regardless, getting the life stuff out of the way. It's easier when you sign a contract of the stature that they're likely to sign. That makes
in like December
shipping your car a little easier. It's not like I'm moving to Chicago and I'm like, okay, well, I gotta dig in the couch cushions to find the pennies to get my car to Chicago. So they'll be fine. But yes, it's easier when all those things are taken care of beforehand. But I've heard nothing on Bellinger. I am still shocked that Bellinger, I thought by now he would at least
Something.
resigned. I thought he
Yeah.
would resign in Chicago. I still
Yeah.
think I would lean that way. I still feel that way, but I'm still shocked, period. And I'm still surprised that the only offer to Snell is from New York.
Yeah. I'm actually shocked about that too. I don't know. I feel like free agency is just different now than it was. I feel like
Yeah.
people aren't, like you said, there's not really a rush to get things done, and you think there would be, but I don't
Especially
know.
in baseball.
Yeah, yeah, like other sports, it seems different than baseball, but
Although hockey was a little odd this past off season. There was a
mm,
lot. There was a little bit of waiting all the way into training camp and stuff like that too. It was a little strange. But hopefully that's not a trend that hockey is starting to go down now, because it drives me crazy in baseball. It's like, come on, man, let's just get this over with. Anyway, thank you for your questions here today, guys. We appreciate it. We're not done for the day. We have a little bit left here this week. The Baltimore Orioles are going to have new owners, and Aaron Hicks has a new uniform. That's next. Back now for our final segment here on Locked On Yankees Friday edition of the show. Stacey, some news out of the American League East. The Baltimore Orioles are being sold. $1.725 billion with a B as in baseball dollars. $1.725 billion for the Baltimore Orioles. They are being bought by billionaire David Rubenstein of what is called the Carlyle Group private equity firm. You know, America's game. They're buying it from, of course, the Angelos family, which that in recent years has been in complete turmoil.
mm,
Weirdly enough, in this, Stacey, John Angelos will remain as a major investor in this. So Orioles fans can't say they're completely shackle free. He will
right.
also be an advisor, which I'm sure is a scary word for all Orioles fans. This will, in all likelihood, go through next week.
Mm,
Next week is the annual owners meetings, which they will vote on the sale of the Baltimore Orioles. I'm sure they'll also be talking about the Oakland A's. I can say that still. Man, that's not getting any cleaner, but we're not here
no.
to talk about Oakland right now. Maybe we'll do that next week or something. But yeah, Stacey, your reaction to this this sale of the Baltimore Orioles? It's been a while coming now.
Yeah, it has been a while. Baltimore fans are rejoicing, really rejoicing. Like you said, Angelos is still going to be around, so you know you still have him there. It's not a completely clean break, but they needed this. Or the Orioles. Baltimore has a great city, great fan base. Um, and I would like to see them competitive more than just a couple of times every few years. You know, I want there to be a long time for them to be competitive, because it's fun when there are more rivalries in the AL East than just Red Sox, Yankees, Rays, Yankees. Like, I want like everyone to just be fighting each other because they're all so good. And I think the Orioles can do that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're set up well. Obviously, they took a massive step forward last season. They still got more waiting in the wings. I think this is primed to be a serious American League East contender for the next decade. I
Mm-hmm.
think you need to very seriously consider the Baltimore Orioles. Do not sleep on them. They are a serious threat, even with the Yankees upgrades that they've had this offseason.
Right.
They got the youth that are all there that are now just a season older and a season wiser, and they got other guys waiting to come up too. They're not done, let alone if they flip those guys for bona fide veteran major leaguers, which that team is kind of lacking right now. But
Right.
all in all, look, outside looking in, as a fan of a team that is in ownership turmoil as well, I'm happy for Baltimore fans. It's weird that we have to celebrate these things.
Yeah.
One billionaire and a private equity firm buying something from another billionaire family, like, yippee, you know, like I can only get so excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this if that ownership is serious and cares about winning, and let's be frank, cares about baseball, which is not something you can always say. You can seldom say even.
Right.
But if they care about baseball, this is a big deal. If they care about putting a serious product, a competitive product on the field, the Yankees need to be careful. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. Cal Ripken Jr. is involved, so I feel like that might take care of the caring about baseball part if he has a say in things. In theory. Yeah. I don't know about Grant Hill though, but yeah, there's interesting names in that group, by the way. Grant Hill, Cal Ripken Jr., Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of New York.
Former person who was on a debate stage at some point.
Yeah, and also a Red Sox fan, but okay.
Stacey, you bullied me into wanting to talk about the next thing. You did on Wednesday's show. You were trying to get me to talk about it. I didn't want to talk about it. And then after the show, you're like, we should talk about it. I'm like, fine. Aaron Hicks to the Angels, the aforementioned team that I am a quote unquote fan of. Look, Hicks had a nice time in Baltimore. I was a little surprised he didn't re-sign there. Just a little bit.
Actually, I was too. I was actually surprised about that. Yeah.
Can this be the last time we talk about Aaron Hicks on this show?
Yes, unless he does something.
Unless like playing, yeah. Of course, I'll have to mention. But I mean, like in this regard, like former Yankee Aaron Hicks. Can we like? I think this is it. This is the final moment, the final countdown. Look, for the Angels, I get it. It's a cheap deal. It's they're gonna have more in all likelihood 5 outfielders: Ward, Trout, Drury, Hicks, and Drury's second baseman, Adele and Moniak. Moniak's going to platoon. He'll face righties only. Adele, who knows what's going on with Joe Adele, if he's going to actually play, if they're going to trade him, if he has any trade value. There's a lot going on in that outfield. But they have that massive hole to fill when it comes to the DH by the guy whose name I can't say. Otherwise, he appears in my nightmares. And he will for the next 10 years. But I mean, good for Aaron Hicks. It's a bit of a homecoming for him. Again, he played pretty well once he left New York last year. Like, he had a nice little stint in Baltimore.
Yeah. Did really well against lefties.
Still rooting for him.
Yeah.
We've never rooted against him.
No.
We're not one of those.
I always felt bad that it didn't work out for him because
it was for a while. It was working.
Yeah, and he had some really exciting moments as a Yankee. I mean, we'll be talking about that diving catch that he made at the end of that crazy game against the Twins. 25 years from now, you'll be talking about the home run off Verlander in the playoffs. Like, there are some moments that Aaron Hicks had as a Yankee.
If it weren't, there will be that what if he never got hurt.
Yeah.
There will always be that what if. Maybe he's figured out change of pace. The Joey Gallo story that everyone wanted. Maybe. Like, you didn't get the Gallo story. Where did he sign? He just signed 2, right?
Washington. DC. Yeah. DC, getting rid of your only favorite gray jerseys. The flower blossoms.
Do we want to get into that? Gosh.
How dare they do that? I love those. I mean, I'm always wearing hats with flowers. I love those jerseys.
Those jerseys are so good. Mm-hmm. Top 5 City Connects.
Yeah.
Well, don't get used to them. One last year with those City Connects. Man. It's for the end of the off season and for still not pitchers and catchers right now, there's been some weird news in baseball the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And that's one of them is the City Connect thing. Hicks to the Angels, the Angelos sell, the ballpark situation in Oakland / Vegas.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on right now for having nothing going on.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of having things going on when there's nothing going on, we're going back to 5 episodes a week next week. That starts on Monday. So for everybody who joined in during the Juan Soto madness, during the Marcus Stroman stuff, and you're just learning about us for the first time, 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, midnight Eastern, every day starting next week. We are back to 5 episodes a week, pretty much for the next 10 months. So
you're going to see a lot of this for the next 10 months.
Don't unsubscribe. So we'll start up with that. Of course, join the Locked On Yankees Insiders Club if you want more of us. There's plenty of us to go around. That's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Yankees. I'm Steve Granado.
And I'm Stacey Gatsoulias. We will see you next week.